What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood Show. I'm your host, Mangone. I am here. My voice is a little shot. I'm sure everyone's voice is shot because we were just hanging out this past weekend at the Niehaus house. We got TitleTown. We got Hoop. We got to go to TitleTown first, right? I know he's probably talked yesterday on the show a little bit, but he's got to talk about his W he had the other day. So TitleTown, how's it going over there, man? And how pumped are you to be here?
Well, I was not on the show yesterday. I was with you the whole time. So,
Oh, yeah,
this
you
is,
were scheduled for the show. My bad. So this is your first time. I forgot. This is the first time you're telling the people.
yeah, I assume a lot of the people saw it. It was fun. It was a fun game. Obviously, it was a 2-day hangover for both of us. Definitely a bender this week, but I was confident the whole time. Like I was saying, I thought I was a favorite. Big T's a very good talker, though. His heater is definitely real in DFS, but it felt good to get the job done, and we had some fun. I'm still at the Nienhaus family, as you can see. Very, very good host, spoiling us with all the food, watching good basketball, but it was definitely fun on the hardwood.
Yep, and we got a title in the seat. We got Casta 26 said no big T. That means you did not watch the college basketball show earlier today. He's been doing the college hoops, right? So when the college hoops is going on, he's on that show in the morning. You're probably not going to see him on the NBA show the next day. And his voice is shocked because he had a long weekend. As you kind of said on the college show today, Hoop, Big T, when he parties, right? He parties hard, and it's been a long weekend for our boy Big T.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. Big T, like what people don't understand, he's not typically a big drinker. He's not a guy that goes out and puts in the work in terms of drinking all the time. But when he does drink, he goes hard, and he went hard this weekend. We all went hard this weekend, and I'm still paying the price a little bit, but feeling better. Was able to get to the gym this morning and kind of sweat some of that booze out of the system. So we're getting back on track here. Have to congratulate my boy Title. He came out with the win. I was one of the first people to kind of have his back when this whole challenge went on. I will admit though, I kind of wavered. I went back and forth a little bit, and I wasn't sure about the 3 dribble rule, but he had a plan. He had a strategy. He stuck to it. He executed it, I'd say, almost flawlessly. The game plan there yesterday, and it was good. I mean, the 3 dribble rule obviously benefited him, but I'm not taking anything away from him. He played really well, and we played in the backyard for a while on was that Saturday? It would have been Saturday afternoon, and I think Title would admit the jumper wasn't falling all that well. He needed to hit jump shots to beat Big T, and he got to that gym. Which, hey, if you're a basketball player, there's a big difference between playing indoors and outdoors. He got to that comfortable indoor setting, and that step back was looking smooth, and that's really what buried Big T. So congratulations to Title. It was a very hard fought victory. You backed up all the talk and got it done. I'll admit, Tony and I are close friends. I've known him for a while. There's nothing that gets me more excited than seeing him losing at something that he's so confident in. And basketball is one thing that he's very confident in. I've always said, I don't think he's as good as his talk is. And Title pounded that point home for me. So appreciate that. Congratulations. Solid victory.
Yeah, and I think it was because Title, he did the old, he went out and was acting like Rocky in Big T's neighborhood, dribbling around while he's going on runs, shot up like for 3 hours before. Title, was that part of the success there?
Yeah, so all right, we got to get this clear. It was not 3 miles. It was not 3 hours in that, but I woke up Sunday morning. Yeah, it was Sunday. Hoop woke me up, or didn't wake me up, but I went and was able to sleep.
Was that before or after the cuddling, Title?
Oh yeah, I'm not even wasting my energy on that talk. But yeah, I woke up and I was very hungover. We had a lot of wine, very long night. We were up till 3, 4 a.m. playing poker too the night before. It was just a long weekend. I felt gross. I needed to get out and run, get the blood flowing, get some shots up. So I definitely have. I prepared a lot more than Big T did, that's for sure. But yeah, when I make a bet and when all this talk goes on and it's something like one-on-one, it's been brewing for 3 months. I don't want to lose the game. No one wants to lose. So put in the work, paid off, and I'm confident in my basketball skills. So it was fun. I did go out and run with the basketball. I did go out and put up jump shots. So I definitely put a little more work in than he did, but it was not 3 hours and it was not 3 miles.
All right, well, Hoop, some of the other antics that went on this weekend. We got to talk about the MMA, right? That was a good time, and tell the people a little bit about our MMA night.
MMA night was fun. So we, obviously we're boozing, playing cornhole, playing basketball. all day, and then the MMA starts, and we're all giving title crap and Big T crap. We were going back and forth saying, oh, I'm going with title tonight, I'm going with Big T. I did a little bit of both. I went to title for some assistance on some squads. I went to Big T for some assistance, and it was fun to root them in. I mean, we had an absolute blast. Had a decent sweat for a while, and I had the four winners or something going into later on. Man, you remember that, right? We had four winners. Me and AP actually had a similar team with four winners.
You and AP had the first four that hit, right? And it was winner after winner, and TitleTown sitting there going, "So," he's all excited. You guys kept hitting, right? And when you get 4-4 in MMA hoop, as each fight goes on, you get closer to the TV, right? You get more excited for each fight. You're like, when's my next fight? Because once you kind of get the third one in, you feel like you can really start rooting at home. So yeah, we needed you to get two more home, and they were both underdogs. So we knew it was a little bit of a tall task, but you did get the 4-4.
Yeah, so we got the 4-4. So we get to this fifth fight, and it was an underdog. Was it a female fight or no?
No, it was Giannis Lopez.
Huh?
Giannis against Lopez. It was a men's fight. But
yeah, so which guy did I have?
You had Lopez, the underdog, and
Yeah, so that's how it all started. So before the fight started, Title knew that me and AP were live, but we needed the underdog. Title, as a good friend, he's like, hey, you know what? He's like, I'm on the other guy, but I'm going to root for the underdog because I know you guys are live to ship this whole thing. I was like, oh, that's great. No, I appreciate your support. You're a big MMA fan. That really, hit home with me. I said, he's willing to sacrifice his guy for my guy. So I was super excited. We had the whole room rooting. Everyone was, had mine and AP's back. We were rooting it in, getting excited. Well, the fight starts, and man, I've never seen a flip-flop so quick. As soon as Title's guy lands one punch, all it took, one freaking punch, and this guy is literally on his hands and knees yelling and cheering about 3 inches from the TV screen. He flipped one freaking punch. His guy lands one solid punch, totally flipped on me and AP. Could you believe that, Mango?
No, I mean, listen, it was a tough scene to watch. And then Title tried to say, oh, well, I have him, and I touted him. And it was like, you extended your hand out to Hoop, and you're like, I got you, I'm on your side. Yeah. And then just turn the other way. I mean, you really hate to see it.
I will say, I'm not even going to lie. I mean, I was hammered. I totally forgot, to be honest, that you even had the sweat after I said it. No, I was, yeah.
Look at that picture. There it is. There's Title.
Title, I got a picture of it while it was going on. Me and Hoop were laughing, so it's on the screen. On your hands and knees, just so excited for your boy Yanni taking it home, which that was the best part too. His name is like Giannis, and Giannis, it's the same thing. So you had to support your boy, basically. You were all about on your knees and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that picture, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Sometimes when there's a sweat going on, a good fight in that, sometimes that's how I watch MMA, watch college basketball. Got to get into it, have some fun.
Yeah,
good position for you on your knees.
Oh, stop it! I knew something was gonna be said about that. Come on.
Yeah, we had a good time with that. I snapped some pictures. Me and Hoop were laughing from the background, and we definitely knew we were in trouble for Hoop's guy because it was tough while it was going on. But it was a fun weekend overall. Had a lot of good times. Hoop, anything else you want to get to before we kind of dive in and talk about some of the games?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, more stories will be told. I mean, there's a lot that went on. If you're a fan of Uncle T, man, it was a rough weekend for Uncle. Especially Saturday was a rough go for Uncle T.
So let me stand up for Uncle T after you tell a little bit. He says the story's all wrong, but I'll let you tell your side first. I talked to Uncle T.
I mean, this one's very simple. He called out Hoop to hit the cornhole pits. He wanted one-on-one action versus Hoop, and I mean, without going into any detail, it didn't end well for him. I mean, he got smoked. The first game was relatively close. We ran it back. The second game was 21-5. And it was in front of his family too. I think his kid was out there, some of his nephews, and they watched it all happen. And it was a tough scene. I kind of felt a little bad after, but he's the one that called me out, and definitely didn't end well for him.
Yeah. So Uncle T said to me, this is what I got the story. So Sunday we got some lunch, right? I talked with Uncle T. He was driving around in his Mustang, and we're talking, and he basically said, oh, that's not what happened. He said, yes, he lost, right? He knew that was what happened. The L happened, but he said, I was rallying to join up with Hoop. He said, I was trying to join up with Hoop to play some other people. And then he said, basically you ended up kind of turning on him a bit, and then it got late. He kind of basically decided it was time to go because he hit that wall. So he was trying to join forces with you. He said he was trying to be your teammate.
Oh, I mean, hey, come on. I mean, I was the one. I was drinking way more than Uncle T was, and I have a very clear recollection of what happened. Maybe at some point we were trying to get a 2-on-2 match going, and it didn't happen. All I know is Uncle T said, "Hoop, me and you 1-on-1." He proposed it to me, and it went down. And, it didn't end well for him. And then it led to, later on in the evening when more games started, people saw the 1-on-1 matchup with me and they didn't want to be partners with Uncle T. So at that point, I kind of felt bad because his own family's like, no, I'm not. Like Big T Senior showed up, Tony's dad, really good cornhole player. He refused to play with Uncle T after that 1-on-1 beatdown. So I felt bad, but when you get called out, you got to step up to the plate and get it done. And Uncle T was the victim there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was definitely tough, but hey, it was a good time overall. I had a fun weekend with all the people. We should dive in though. We should talk about the games and kind of get this thing started. Before we do that, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe on the video. Helps us out a ton. We got 165 likes. We just want you guys to hit the like button. And why we want you to hit the like button is because we are going to be giving away a free subscription, right, Hoop? We're going to be giving away one free sub to the people at the end of the show. Why don't you tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, we'll just cover that right now, right in the opening. We had a member that did really well in hockey, had a big hockey win, and he wanted to give back, kind of what we had last week where the guy wanted to give someone a free month subscription. Well, our buddy Christopher Nugent sent us a message, and he said he wanted to give someone a 3-month package at Run Pure Sports. So, I mean, this is going to be a big prize to someone that's listening here today. So basically, we're going to pick someone at the end of the show, and they're going to win a 3-month subscription to Run Pure Sports from Chris Nugent, a member. He said, listen, he's like, I love the product. I want other people to experience the product that you guys have. It's the best in the industry by far. And I want to give someone an opportunity to sample it out. And so he's going to pay for somebody to have a 3-month subscription at Run Pure Sports. So maybe start popping some messages in there why you think you're the person that should win that. And we'll pick one here, and that person will win a 3-month subscription to Run Pure Sports.
Yeah, definitely just, pop in, say some stuff in the chat. Anyone that, we like, as JT says, right, we want some fun, respectful people in the chat, people who have a good time. So definitely going to pick someone.
One last story about the trip before we hop in. Snyder's in here. And Snyder on Friday night, I think it was right out of the gate. Snyder was having some fun Friday night. We got into poker kind of late after a lot of drinks, and Snyder to start just running the table. I mean, he hit every single hand, just dominating everyone, had all the chips. That was the night I was sweating NBA. I had the nice NBA win, the 80K win that night. So I was in and out of the poker game. There was like a double straddle or something. I had like $90 in front of me. Boom. Snyder was the second straddle. So I all in. I looked down at ace jack. There's 6 or 7 of us playing all in. Comes around to Snyder and he's contemplating. He's looking down and he's really thinking about this, contemplating the call. I don't know, maybe I'll do it. I got to see what's going on. Big T pipes in right over my shoulder. Like, call him, Snyder. Own Hoop. Own him. As soon as Big T said that, snap call from Snyder. He flips over 8-3 and already started the victory. 8-3 versus ace jack, of course, hits the 8. And it was curtains for Hoop. But, Snyder dominated the poker game. The 8-3 offsuit call to take my chips was it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun times. Title was playing the poker, too. He ended up getting some of Snyder's by the end of the night as the night went on. You guys played pretty late.
Yeah, we were playing till 4 a.m. Uncle T was up till 4 a.m. too playing. I was able to get some of Snyder's back from help the people out. We were Pooh, another Uncle T's brother was playing too. It was a lot of fun. I see Bill in chat, Trent Gabbard in chat. They were hanging out with us all week too. So shout out to them. It was a lot of fun. But we do need one more story. I see people in chat talking about it. Man, they heard the dizziness story. People have heard about it by now. Hey, we'll let you talk about it. Or
yeah, I wasn't going there. I wasn't going to go there.
I mean, you could go there. It's fine. Like I legit, like, I'm not even kidding. Like I legit was like seriously worried, like about myself. Like my heart was like bumping. It was not a good scene. Like I was very, very worried. And typically I'm someone that will just like, as you saw, Hoop, right? 0 to 100, right? Like I played football. I'll go through the pain and everything, but I was legit worried I was going to just pass out and we're going to have to go to an ambulance if I didn't stop playing basketball. It was not pretty.
Yeah, Mangone got in this one-on-one game versus Rubio, and Big T was back in Mangone, and Mangone came out hot. Like he had 0 points, but he had like 9 rebounds in 2 minutes. I mean, he was grabbing offensive board, throwing up bricks, but he was going bonkers for about a good 2 or 3 minutes, just going crazy. I looked over, I said, I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to be able to keep up this sort of pace. I said, you might want to slow down a little bit. And sure enough, about 15 seconds later, kind of went down to one knee, and it was a pretty serious situation. You're down for a good 3 hours after that.
It wasn't 3 hours, but it was a while.
I don't know. It might have been 3.
It was a while. I think it was 2, but it was bad. I was out, and you know what? Big T got it out of me. He was like, "You probably just got to throw up at this point." That always makes it better. And the throw up worked. And best part about it is on Sunday, Big T said, "I feel like Mango with the dizziness," and I said, "Big T, you better just throw up." And then what does Big T do last night? Before he went to bed, he's there throwing up. So basically, Big T, took a tip from me on Saturday and ended up having to do that as well. So it was tough for both of us in the basketball streets. But next time I'll have to, make sure I'm in a little better shape when we play that game, or maybe not play the game when I said, hey, like, let me finish my Red Bull. You know what I mean? You guys really pushed me to play that game a little quick.
The thing was, that's what I was going to bring up. I just brought it up because people in chat already knew and stuff. Mangone was slamming Red Bulls like no other. After drinking, staying up late, no sleep, like 20-ounce Red Bulls, just hammering them. No water all week. And this guy comes out 150%, doesn't conserve energy at all. He's just running. I mean, missing rebound, and all the rebounds. Like,
I'm like a worse version of Andre Drummond out there. Just keep tipping it up there.
If you were $4K, you paid off your salary in 2 minutes with rebounds alone. So I mean, get that cardio a little work, drink more water, less Red Bull, and hey, Mangone would have been a tough out. He was playing D2, but yeah, I mean, just wasn't his day. And yeah, he took himself out at the right time, I will say, because it could have got worse. But he survived and he revived and had some fun.
Yeah, no, overall it was a fun weekend. Can't wait for the next time. It'll be a blast, but we should dive into the games. Well, I'm sure we'll have more stories to tell throughout the week, especially when we get Big T back on the show. And I'm sure you'll catch him on all the other ones. I'm sure on the golf show with Hoop, you'll catch Uncle T and him talking about it. So stay tuned, subscribe, like the video. Make sure to subscribe to us so you can catch all the content we have this week so you can get more stories from this past weekend. Let's talk about the first game. We have a 7:30 lock, which I was definitely very happy about coming back today. Getting a little extra 30 minutes. We got the Sacramento Kings. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this one's on an island, right? So obviously having it 30 minutes before, you can always make an argument. If it's one game on an island to start things off, there's always merit to backloading a little bit. But this is a game 223 total. Hoop, we got the Kings and we have the Cavs, and the Cavs are in a pretty good spot because I like taking guards against the Kings, right? I like to take a Darius Garland or a Colin Sexton, and they're not too expensive. And then over on FanDuel, Larry Nance and Jared Allen, they're still cheap. So we have tons of opportunity here for the Cavs against this bad Kings defense. How are you handling this one?
Yeah, and it could get a little bit better Garland's questionable. So if he were to sit, then we got even more opportunity for some of these guys. I mean, if he sits, Sexton becomes a really strong play. On the Cleveland side, staying on that side, Jared Allen still has a relatively cheap price tag on FanDuel. I definitely prefer the guards, though, here. If Garland is in, I think he's definitely in the conversation. As a play here tonight, really cheap on FanDuel as well. The FanDuel price tag, 5.5K. I mean, that's just way too cheap for this matchup with Kings. So just need to get clarification on whether or not he's in. It's the first game of the slate. We'll definitely get it. So if you were to sit, though, like I said, Sexton, strong play. On the Kings side, they're getting a little more difficult to roster for DFS purposes, kind of back to full strength. We have a lot of injury news, rest situations tonight that we're going to be monitoring. I don't think I'm going to go here. With the one exception, I think, would be Halliburton on DK. He's 5.5K. I think he's in the conversation there. But we got a couple of guys listed as questionable now on the Pacers. I mean, they just listed Brogdon as questionable. They just listed Miles Turner as questionable as well. If we don't have that news at lock, I mean, the Pacers-Bucks game is 9 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour and a half after this first game locks. it's going to be hard to lock in some of these guys because that Brogdon Turner, that's slate changing news if those guys were both to miss, and they just got tagged as questionable kind of later on in the day too. So it leads me to believe that maybe they're out. It's a revenge game though for Brogdon, so maybe he does have a little more motivation to get out there and play in this one. I don't know. I kind of don't want to overdo it here with that news. Probably going to take the cautious approach and wait. But like I said, Garland, very strong play if he's in. If he's out, Sexton's a strong play. Halliburton on DK specifically.
Yeah, Tyler, you were talking a little bit to me this weekend about liking Halliburton a lot. He gets a matchup against the Cavs, though, a bit of a slower pace. I think I prefer the Cavs side over the Kings. How about you?
Yeah, on DK, Halliburton at 5.5K. All formats, cash or tournaments. I like him there. It's just too cheap for his talents. He's a very good basketball player, has upside. So he's the only one on the King side. And on FanDuel, 5,500 in tournaments, I think he makes sense. There's other better plays in cash games. And then on Cleveland side, like Hoop said, if Garland does play 5.5K on FanDuel, point guard isn't the best spot. Drew Holiday is going to be one of the chalkier guys, but point guard too, he fits some builds if he plays. If he doesn't, a Jetty Osman at 3-7 or Sexton gets some boost, but it's the only game that locks at 7:30 to start the night. With that news that we just saw Pacers too, it's more of a backload spot. Probably avoid most of it, but Garland if he plays, Halliburton, otherwise it's an easy fade.
All right, yeah, not too much more to mention really on this game. We got to wait for some news there. De'Aaron Fox, sort of interesting, but he's just priced up, right? It's one of those weird slates where I don't know if I can actually pull the trigger on it. Let's go to the 8 o'clock game, though. This is definitely a game that I want to talk about a little bit. 230.5 total. We have the Thunder and we have the Minnesota Timberwolves here. And Hoop, I'm going to go to you because Karl Anthony Towns is only 9.5K against the Thunder. And the Thunder are a team that I think you can definitely attack a little bit down low in the post. Towns has upside at that price. How are you handling him on DraftKings?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those slates where we don't have all the spends. And we've talked about on the show a few times over the course of the week that the big-time superstars have been lined up on the same slates lately. We've had, Giannis and Luka and Joker and Harden. They're playing on the same night. So the schedule's aligning where they're playing, and then these off nights, we don't have the spends. That's the case tonight. We just don't have the spends. He's the spend that I feel most comfortable in by far in this matchup. I mean, they're favored. 4.5 point favorites here. So I definitely like Towns as a spend on the slate. I don't think it's a must. I don't think you absolutely have to, but he's definitely a solid spend here. Anthony Edwards is the other guy. I mean, he is just playing some phenomenal basketball here. And it's a price tag you don't love, but when you look at the production, you don't mind it. He hasn't been under, you look about 10 games. He hasn't been under 32 fantasy points in 10 games. Andy has upside. Andy's playing a crap ton of minutes. So Anthony Edwards is clearly a guy to consider here tonight at 7.2K in this matchup against the Thunder. So Towns, Edwards, both in the conversation. On the Thunder side, we got the news earlier that Al Horford is out. That immediately puts Moses Brown back in play. We saw the upside that he has a couple weeks ago when he gets the starts. They're clearly going to let him play the minutes. Isaiah Roby should definitely be solidified for more minutes. Strong play there. Don't even hate SGA. There's a lot of guys in this price range I think are in play, like mid-8s down to mid-7s. There's going to be a ton of these guys that we can talk about. I'm kind of curious to see what your guys' take are because I think there's like 5 or 6 dudes in that price range on DraftKings that are in play today. And you can almost just take the approach like whatever fits, that's kind of where you land because to me they're all pretty similar, but maybe you guys have a stronger opinion on it. But clearly some plays here. This game is 30 minutes after lock, so if you don't go overboard on the first game, you can have a lot of flexibility, but Towns, Edwards, strong plays. And then, like I said, those bigs for Thunder are really what I'm going to be focused on here.
Yeah, I love the talk on Edwards. He's someone that I'm a big fan of here in this spot. And it's also an easier matchup, right? Like some of the past matchups you look at and you're like, oh wait, Anthony Edwards probably should struggle if he's playing against the Suns, right? Not really. He had 36 fantasy points and 60.25. And of course, the 60 is a ceiling and an outlier, right? But it just proves that the matchup does not matter, right? It's the usage that he's seeing is just insane. So absolutely love Edwards. I think his floor is great and his ceiling's awesome. It just depends if you want to go up to some other guys that are in that high 7 range that we'll talk about a little bit later. Title, I'll go on over to you. Talk about some of these Timberwolves and then talk about some of these Thunder value plays because Moses Brown is someone that I see popping up. Isaiah Roby, we can't ignore SGA when we have to spend some money, and he does have a ceiling, but the floor is low. Lots to discuss on this Thunder and Timberwolves game. What do you got here?
Yeah, so this is a high total, a close spread between two teams that aren't very good. So I have a lot of interest in this on the DFS side as a game stack, and it might even go in lower owned outside a couple pieces like Moses Brown. And I mean, he's mainly the chalk in this game for sure, but because this is the second game that locks and it's the only game that locks at 8. So I like this game stack in tournaments. Moses Brown, like I said, is a really good play on both sides. 4-3 on FanDuel is just dumb. It's hard not to play him. And he's center eligible, so then you can't play Cat on FanDuel. But DraftKings, where you can play two centers, Moses Brown and Towns make a lot of sense together. 9,500 for Towns is too cheap in this matchup. Moses Brown isn't a very good defender. I expect Towns to have a very big game. Anthony Edwards, like you said, 7,200 on DraftKings. He is a little more expensive on 77 on FanDuel. I don't like as much, but Anthony Edwards always chucks. He's gotten hot lately. He's a good player. I like him in this matchup a lot. Isaiah Roby on FanDuel 4-7 without Baisley, without Horford. They're just going to need his body. I like him a lot. SGA on both sites. He falls in the mid tier, 7.4K on FanDuel, 8-3 on DraftKings. Like you said, we just don't have the stars to spend on. And I love this game environment. I think SGA does very well. Rookie Rubio and Jaden McDaniels are good plays on FanDuel. 3.6K McDaniels, 5.5K for Rubio. Without McLaughlin, it's Rubio, it's Edwards, and Town just running this Timberwolves team with so much usage. So I'm going to stick to those guys. I have tons of interest in tournaments in this game stack, like I said. SGA, Roby, Edwards, Towns, Moses Brown. You can play them all in this tight spread. Don't expect a lot of defense. And we always talk about if you get OT in a game like this in a game stack, you're sitting on the nuts early. So definitely a spot I have a ton of interest in. And Moses Brown, he's by far the most chalky player on FanDuel, and he'll be chalky on DraftKings as well.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to mention on this slate, Hoop. So you did the bet show, I believe, today, right? Did you notice this total has gone up? It opened at 224.5. Now it's up to 230.5. That's a huge move there. So did that kind of get you more excited about this game, seeing that massive movement?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did the bet show. It was at 1 p.m. Eastern. It was 224.5. I remember looking right at it saying 224.5. It's gone up a ton. I'm guessing most of that has to do with Al Horford being out. I'm assuming they're playing at a much faster pace when Horford does indeed sit. And yeah, I mean, that brings the Timberwolves team total up to about 118, which is a big number. You know, you look at their roster, they don't have a ton of guys that are capable of making it happen. So I think it's a big boost for Edwards and Cat for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. And honestly, you could say some people might argue, oh, Edwards and Cat probably don't correlate. I bet they correlate pretty well because I bet when they both, like when one goes off, it's probably because that game is close and there's a lot of scoring and they're both getting those minutes, right? You probably see more of like the downside on a guy like Cat when they kind of get blown out a bit. So good spot for them. They're favorites. They're not favorites a ton. Definitely a game you want to get some exposure to. That's an 8 o'clock game. Let's head on over to the 8:30 game. We got the Charlotte Hornets and we got the San Antonio Spurs. And we had some big news happen this weekend. LaMelo Ball, he ended up hurting himself. He is out for the season with a fractured hand, I believe. So, Title, I'll go on over to you. There's tons of value here now on this Charlotte side with no Ball. I do think the pace goes down, though, without Ball because he really set that tone for the team. How are you handling the Charlotte Hornets with this news?
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, the pricing isn't right on either site. Tons of value, but we also have Bucks value with Giannis out. Now this Pacers news, it could even get more value there. So this whole slate's full of value. Going to be a ton of points score or a high score to take it all down. But I'll just start listing off the guys that are grading out very well for me. Devontae Graham, Bismack Biyombo, Malik Monk, Terry Rozier. All 4 of those guys on both sites are way underpriced. Their role's so much bigger without LaMelo. He always had the ball in his hands. But I do agree. You make a good point. Their pace is definitely going to be slower now going forward. And LaMelo is so good. He makes his teammates around him so much better, getting them open looks, getting them free points. So I like these guys for their price points. Like Bismack is 3.5 on FanDuel. Malik Monk's the min price on FanDuel. Graham's 4.3. but I won't play more than 2 of these guys in a tournament lineup just because I think this game's not going to be very high scoring. And now they need to create their own shot more without LaMelo. So I'll stick to 2 at max between Graham, Bismack, Malik Monk, and Rozier. Hayward's price is a little more than I want to pay. I'd rather go to an SGA, or I'm not going to go in that range as much. And then as far as the Spurs side, I don't have too much interest in any of these guys. Derek White, if you need on FanDuel, or Keldon Johnson at 5.4K. One of the most bizarre stat lines I've seen, Saturday or Friday, whenever it was, 23 and 21 or something for Keldon Johnson. Don't expect that every day. I mean, that's a once in a lifetime performance maybe for him, but 5.4K, he's going to be low owned. It's an okay tournament play, but this game, it's the Charlotte side, but there's other better value. I don't like this game as much as some people will, so I'm going to be underweight.
Yeah, Hoop, talking about the Spurs and the Hornets, you typically fade the Spurs, and I'm kind of in agreement. I don't need to go to the Spurs today, but that Charlotte side, it's a little tasty, and it's getting overlooked, I think, because of that Giannis news. Because if that Giannis news wasn't there, I think we'd be slamming more Hornets into our lineup. So break it down for me. What are you doing with these Hornets?
Yeah, it's 100% accurate. I mean, with the Spurs, I mean, on the slate where we got all this news and whatnot, which is, I mean, basically every night we have the news. Kind of why we've been off the Spurs, I think, as a whole at RPS, man. Besides, K Fallick loves the Spurs when there's injuries, and he'll point it out to us. I'm sure if he's listening, he's got his chart ready to roll. But
he's got to have a chart for the Hornets today, right? There's got to be one.
Yeah, let's get that Hornets chart. Well, we need that. Actually, that Friday show was my big hit. We need to get K Fallick back in here to give us some winners. He was with me on the what was it, Will Barton. I mean, Barton didn't do all that good, but it was the key to the night, kind of what it allowed you to do. Spurs, I'm just going to be off. I mean, it's they just have so many dudes, and they just underwhelm from a fantasy perspective. Yeah, Keldon Johnson had that big game, but no need to chase that. On the Hornet side, I think there's some interesting plays here because we know Devontae Graham is going to be super, super popular. And outside of that, I don't think anyone else is going to be like mega popular. And to me, really, these guys with their new roles with LaMelo Ball are all a little bit too cheap. I mean, Ball, he's doing just about everything out there for him. So someone's going to have to pick up all that. I think like guys like Terry Rozier are really good tournament plays. Even Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, Miles Bridges could step up into a bigger role. All these guys, for me, are just too cheap right now. I think, 3 weeks, month from now, we're going to be paying a lot more. Graham's the one that's going to be very popular because, he gets back into that starting lineup and he's the cheapest. Those other guys, though, I think the ownership is going to be kept in check. I think it makes them all really good tournament options tonight. Like I said, Rozier, Hayward, PJ Washington specifically are the guys that I'd be looking to in tournaments. We all know Graham is going to be very highly owned tonight. Very tough not to play him.
I will say Malik Monk is probably my favorite tournament play because he's great leverage off of Devontae Graham. Same if he gets hot, Devontae Graham maybe either slides to the bench he gives Monk more of the ball for more usage. And Malik Monk can get hot any game, very good shooter. And if he gets hot, he's going to keep chucking, which will be less for Devontae Graham, who will be popular. So that's my favorite tournament play in this game is a pivot off the chalk.
Yeah, no, the Monk call makes sense. A lot of people talking about that in the chat as well. Guys, I do want to talk about something that we got going on over here at Run Pure Sports. We got something we're going to do, Hoop. We got a hashtag. I believe it's members never win, right? Which is totally false, right? We're doing a little bit of a giveaway, and we want to talk about it here. So, Hoop, tell the people about this thing we're going to do on Twitter.
Yeah, just having a little play off the whole thing that, it's only you guys winning. It's not your members. Get that a lot, and that's like absolutely not the case. Yes, you see more of our big wins, but our members have had some phenomenal wins. Honestly, I'm not just saying this, but it literally seems like every single night in the Discord across the board in multiple sports, we've had some pretty damn big wins. So over the weekend, yesterday, I believe, these were a few wins that we kind of highlighted from PGA. Corona guy, 27, took down 14,000 in PGA. Our boy Hester, 1233 DFS, 17K. And then our girl Lindsay, DFS, DGA, S33. She had a video to go along with it. She used a bamboo stick and I believe a ping pong ball because she was at the lake and didn't have her golf clubs with her. She posted a little video of her hitting the ping pong ball into the lake. A nice little win for her last night too. So our members kind of align with us in terms of the wins. When we have big wins, our members typically have big wins. We just wanted to kind of showcase some of these people. So, if you're out there and you have big wins, make sure you're tagging us and we'll give you the recognition that you deserve. So any big wins, go ahead and tag Run Pure Sports, and we'll get you the recognition that you deserve on this on this show here. I mean, it's not easy to go out there and win every single night in DFS, and we think here at Run Pure Sports, we provide you guys with a solid pathway to get there. We still have that promo code HEATER25. It's only going to be lasting until baseball season starts, which is basically next Thursday. So you got a week and a half to use that promo code. HEATER25 gets you 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. Once baseball starts, that's gone, and we're going back to full price. So take advantage of that, become a winner, and run Pure with us. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, get that good mojo going. And hey, you can do that by hitting that like, hitting that subscribe on the video. Helps us out a ton. Again, at the end of the show, as long as we got the good mojo going with the likes, we'll definitely be giving away some a free membership. Actually, no swag today. Free membership though. We got 278 with 703 watching, so we know you can do better than that. You don't want to get Hoop all riled up, so hit that like for them. It helps us out. Let's head on over to the next game. Let's talk about the Toronto Raptors and the Houston Rockets. And this is a game that I thought was going to be interesting because I thought, hey, John Wall might be out, and I thought it could just be the Christian Wood show. And it still could be the Christian Wood show, and he could be a great tournament play. TitleTown, I'm going to go over to you and ask you, how are you handling this Raptors and Rockets game?
Yeah, so on FanDuel, I don't like this game as much as I do on DraftKings. Daniel House at 3.8K. That's just very cheap. If you need to punt small forward and you want to pay up at other spots at SGA, want to go contrarian with Towns over Moses Brown or something, I'm fine with him on FanDuel. But other than that, like Christian Wood at 8.1K, he's a good tournament play because there's so much value. But I like him more on DK where he's 8K. He is center eligible only, but I think he's going to be lower owned over there. And he just has so much upside without Oladipo on, because Oladipo's resting. So without Oladipo, so much upside. The minutes is a little, I don't think he's back to his full minutes yet because what did he play last game? 32, I think it was. So yeah, I mean, he's getting a little better, minutes going a little more up, but I like him in tournaments. He's not going to be a cash game play that I really want to go to. Fred VanVleet, 7.6K. I really like him as a spend up in this game. We've seen the Rockets play no defense whatsoever. The blow concern is a little risky, but I think he's a very good mid-tier play. I like him a little more than SGA, actually. John Wall, 7.1K. You can go there too, but there's so many good games on this slate, and you got to take stands. This is the game I'm going to be more underweight on and probably full fade it because, I mean, we like the Bucks game. I like this OKC Minnesota game a lot. There's Charlotte on the slate. So Christian Wood tournaments, other than that, not too much.
Yeah, definitely an interesting game. And the Rockets, man, they've lost 20 in a row, right? Like, it's been brutal over there for that team. I believe I saw a tweet like the Bitcoin's price was at like $36,000 when they last won. I don't know. That could be true. It could not be. But it's just funny, like, how bad it's been. I mean, it had to have been months, right? It has to be since December. I don't even know if they won in January. Hoop, what are you doing with the Rockets here? Because they seem like a tough team to play. But the Raptors, hey, if we want to target the team with 20 losses, we probably should do that, right? It would make sense to be looking at some Raptors against a team that has lost 20 times in a row.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue I have here with the Raptors is they're basically back to like full strength, and then they got their whole roster. So, I mean, if this game does get out of hand at all, I mean, there's no reason for them to push these guys, especially because they're, kind of just getting back into the swing of things. So, I mean, this game is mostly going to be a fade for me for the most part. Like, Fred VanVleet has a nice price tag on DK. I don't hate that. And then John Wall and Christian Wood, I think, are interesting. But, I mean, honestly, if I was going that route and playing these guys, I'd play them all together. I'd play VanVleet. I'd play Wall. I'd play Christian Wood in tournaments. Hope the game stays close. If the game stays close, all three of those guys, I think, have pretty big games. And you're going to be unique because no one's really going to do it. So I don't hate that in tournaments. Cash games most likely be off this. Not my favorite game at all.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not really a game that I am looking to get too much exposure to, but I think you can pick and choose a couple Raptors here and there. And mainly like a Fred VanVleet makes sense, right? And the reason why I like him more is because his price hasn't gone up, right? Because he's kind of been sitting around, hasn't been playing all those minutes, right? So his price hasn't been adjusted. I think it's kind of the guys who haven't gotten the COVID or were on the COVID list. Those are the guys I would maybe look at because those prices haven't adjusted. I mean, Larry is still at 8-1. Powell has gone up. I mean, 7-1. Yes, we were paying 7-1 for Powell when there was no Van Vliet and Siakam, but I don't see us doing it there now at this point. That'll wrap it up for this game. We can head on over to the next one because this is definitely one we got to talk about. It's got tons of action here. We got the Pacers, we have the Bucks, and we have no Giannis sitting. And it's a day where the Bucks are on and TitleTown's on the show. It always lines up like that. So, Title, how do you feel having to watch the Bucks without your boy tonight?
Well, I mean, it makes it so popular in DFS. Bobby Portis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. They're going to be one of the three chalkiest players on the slate on both sides. It's hard to ignore them. I mean, Bobby Portis especially, he's 3.7 on FanDuel, 4.1K on DraftKings. Yeah, he's a good player regardless. Now his minutes are going up. His usage is a lot more. I can't find a way to really fade him. Middleton, the price, Drew, the price. Like, I don't know. I'm a cash player, so in tournaments, maybe play just two of the three and hope the other one doesn't get there. Go to some other places, but I don't know. There's such good plays. I'm not going to make a case to fade them. On FanDuel also, there's Pat Connaughton at 4K. Dante DiVincenzo's at 5.7K. I don't want to go to Brook Lopez here just because center is loaded, but I like the Dante and Pat if you need value. And then as far as the Pacers side, we did get that Miles Turner and Brogdon being questionable, which that's big news because if they miss, then Sabonis becomes a very good play. Doug McDermott's only 3.8 on FanDuel would get a big boost. Karis LeVert's 5.6 on FanDuel. So this could be one of the most chalky games we've ever seen on both sides, where you can run 7 guys just because there's so much value. Good game environment too. I have a lot of interest in this game. Bucks side's where I'm mainly at. If Turner and Brogdon do play, I'm not going to have much Pacers just because there's other better spots. My favorite, if I did, would be Sabonis at 9K on DraftKings. But I like Towns more for 9,500. I probably won't get there today. If they're out, Sabonis is a very, very good spend up. But the Bucks news is, Middleton, Portis, Drew Holiday, very, very elite plays.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like a lot of news can obviously change with this Indiana team that could shake it up. So definitely looking to see what to do there with a guy like Sabonis because he's someone that I think he is interesting at his price. Obviously, if you have a Turner or a Brogdon out, you're going to have even more interest. And that's going to be big news to be waiting on. So I'll be looking for that. Hoop, I want to go over to you and ask you a question because you and I, we're cash donkeys. So is Title, right? And he kind of brought up something I was going to ask you, right? Like, so I'm trying to get better at tournaments. I keep trying to do better. And I'm like, okay, like what's the limit on Bucks? Is it 2? Is it 3? Like, I still think 3 is okay, right? Like, I really think you can get away with playing Portis, Drew, and Middleton. I think it's perfectly fine, especially because we've seen when the Bucks, like in the past, right? They don't have an Eric Bledsoe or Middleton. We've seen how much usage just goes around, and Giannis's usage is just so much. I think you can play all 3 guys right now because the prices are too cheap. Now, in a week, that might not be the case. Bobby Portis might be 6.1K, and then things might have changed. But I still think you can get away with 3. Could you even get away with 4, Hoop?
I mean, we saw it all last season, and these guys, they just would go off. I mean, when Giannis is out, these guys would go off. And, that's why the Bucks were so good last season when Giannis sat, because these guys all played so well. I mean, I feel very good saying that 3 of these guys smashed their price tag. 4, I would not be surprised if 4 of them. I mean, you look with it. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo has been playing phenomenally well with Giannis in the lineup. Now Giannis is out. He's a guy that's going to fly under the radar a little bit because of his price tag. Drew's going to be popular. Middleton's going to be popular. Bobby Portis is going to be popular. There's no doubt about that. Those 3 will be the 3 highest. And guys that, will most likely be playing in cash games. But in tournaments, look to a guy like Dante DiVincenzo. He's going to be kind of forgotten because of his price. It's not going to be unowned or anything, but those other 3 are going to have such high ownership. There's no way that Dante has massive ownership. Pat Connaughton, another guy I think you can look to as well that shouldn't be all that highly owned, could easily have a big game here. But yeah, cash games, tournaments, this is a load up spot. There's no 2 ways around it. And then on the Pacers side, now we need to wait on this news because, like Title said, if Brogdon and Turner are out, we're going to play 3, 4, or not. We're going to be playing like 5 or 6 guys from this game. Sabonis becomes a phenomenal play. Karis LeVert becomes a phenomenal play. TJ McConnell, Doug McDermott, This is the reason why you probably don't go overboard on that first game, that Kings-Cavs game. Yeah, there's some good plays in that game, but the slate changes if Brogdon and Turner are ruled out.
Yeah, no, for sure. And if Brogdon's out, like TJ McConnell's going to be interesting in title. We talked, TJ McConnell played basketball yesterday, right? For Rutgers. If you obviously don't know the story because you weren't there, you guys listening, but this should have been my tell of why I probably shouldn't have bet on Big T and knew he was drinking way too much. So we're watching the Rutgers basketball game and he's like, is that TJ McConnell? Is that TJ McConnell's brother out there? And like the dude out there is like, you know, he's got some lighter skin, right? But he's got dreadlocks, right? Like there's no way TJ McConnell's brother has dreadlocks. It's just a fact. So we started calling basically McConnell for Rutgers. We started calling him TJ McConnell the rest of the weekend, which was a fun time. And that should have been the tell hoop. I should have known Big T has drank too much and I should not be betting on him, right?
Well, hey, Title was drinking too. Don't pretend it was just Big T drinking. Title was drinking too, but I didn't call him TJ McConnell.
Oh,
we had a lot of soldiers going hard. I'll tell you that much. There was a lot of guys going hard in the paint this weekend.
But that's a good if they are out, TJ McConnell 4-6 on FanDuel. He always is stock upside. I mean, the guy, what do you have? A triple double with steals like a month ago or something. Always love him on FanDuel. He's scrappy player, good basketball player. 4.6K if Brogdon's out becomes very, very good. So yeah, this news we definitely have to monitor it. And that's why it makes a lot of sense to fade some of the earlier games and backload more because that's very, very big news if Brogdon or Turner or both do miss.
Well, Title, if I was MMEing, right? Like if I had, 100 lineups on FanDuel and that big $3 or whatever they have, I would just include McConnell in my script already because, I mean, he could still do really well even if Brogdon's in. And I mean, if Brogdon's out, he's an absolute smash. And like his last two games, 54 fantasy points and 30.5. Like, he's a phenomenal play. Absolutely phenomenal. I think you can play him in tournaments, even if Brogdon is in there, and he could still be a guy that's on the winning tournament team. So don't ignore him at all, especially without Giannis, right? There could be some miscommunications that can lead to steals, right? So definitely think that McConnell is a great play. I don't know, Hoop, is there anyone else? Like, is a Doug McDermott going to be more on play and they go more Sabonis maybe at the 5? Any of those other Pacers pieces that we should be looking at?
I don't think you got to get too cute because we don't have the spend ups on the slate. So I mean, we don't need to overdo it with the value. I mean, we already got our value for the most part. There's just not going to be the spend. So I wouldn't go anyone fringe. I really would not. I'd stick with the key guys for the most part that we've already kind of talked about.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on over to the next game. But before we go over to the next game, you guys want to ask you, please hit the like, hit the subscribe on the video. We will be giving away a free RPS subscription for a month at the end of the show. I also want to talk about Monkey Knife Fight. We still have the promo going on over there. Use the code RUNPURE to get a match up to $50. We had a little Run Pure bracket contest as well this weekend. So hopefully you are still live in that, even though a lot of brackets were busted. Title, how's your bracket looking? Because I know Hoop did not fill out a bracket, so no need to even ask that question to him.
Yeah, I mean, it not very good, but I still have all Final Four teams live, which is a lot more than a lot of people with Ohio State, Illinois, and stuff going down. So I have a nice future on Houston too that I hit very early. They just snuck by yesterday, didn't look too good, but it's looking pretty good right now if I can get my Final Four teams in. But we've seen how this tournament's going. It's been crazy, tons of upsets happening. I expect a lot to still change.
Yep, a lot to go down in the tournament. Hoop, give your final thoughts on the NCAA tournament for us.
No thoughts.
That's what I figured.
I will say around here, it's, Michigan, everyone talks about the Big Ten and all that crap. What a disappointment the Big Ten has been. Just totally exposed, like fully exposed.
Yeah, no, it has been bad though. We were talking last night, Ted, like the Pac-12 has been amazing, right? And they showed it today again too. They whooped Iowa. So they've been absolutely embarrassing everyone, right?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Big Ten's been awful, and the one Big Ten team I do pick to lose in the first round is my Wisconsin Badgers, and they just come out and absolutely dominate UNC. So, yeah, Big Ten's been very, very hurtful, very overrated as we've seen.
Yeah, well, I mean, as Hoop said to you with the MMA, we love loyalty, right? You were not loyal to your Badgers, and that's what happens sometimes, Title. It turns on you. So, you got to stay loyal to your team next time.
Yeah, maybe I learned my lesson. We'll see.
All right, let's go on to the next one. We'll talk Jazz, we'll talk Bulls, and this is not too much of an exciting game, but I'll see what we got to talk about it. Hoop, I'll go over to you. I don't see yourself playing too much in cash games here, but anything in tournaments that could be interesting.
It's a great game to stay away from. I mean, we talk about the Jazz a lot. It's very simple with this Jazz team for DFS purposes. When they're at full strength, you really don't consider them even in good matchups. You really don't want to consider them. When they're missing one guy, it kind of changes everything. Jordan Clarkson comes in the conversation. Joe Ingles, you can play those guys. When they're at full strength, there's just no reason to do it. I mean, let your opponents do it and just have the mindset that you're not touching them. I think it's a good spot just to forget about it, move on. I do think Rudy Gobert is questionable in this one, though, right?
I'll admit, traveling a lot today, so probably.
He's officially questionable. So maybe Derek Favors, but I don't think you need it on the slate. The Bulls, another team been staying away from. They have a lot of bodies. I just don't think there's any reason to really touch this game in any format tonight.
Yeah, and more reason to backload, right? Because, hey, that could be stuff that changes and maybe something else pops in. Maybe you have a spend up in Donovan Mitchell, right? We said it's not the best spend up slate. And I mean, Big T's talked about a little bit how the Jazz, they kind of like still run their guys out there. And we saw it with Washington, right? If they get behind too, like Donovan Mitchell is going to go nuts. So if you need a spend up guard, I don't hate Mitchell. I think he's okay. But again, this is not my favorite game. It's definitely one I will not get a ton of exposure to. Title, I'll go on over to you. How are you handling this Jazz and Bulls game with this Rudy Gobert news?
Yeah, I mean, 8-game slate, you turn it to 7 games. I'm not playing anyone in this game with so much value on the other spots.
Yeah, and if you are, you'll find out in the Discord chat, right? Because if the news hits, then you might change your opinion on it. Be sure to get in that Discord chat. I'm sure it's a 9 o'clock game, so I bet K Fallick has a late night core that everyone is clamoring for. So, be sure to get into that RPS Discord chat so you can be able to get that core later on tonight. I don't even know if K Fallick has a core. I'm sure someone will be in there. I'm sure I'll be in the Discord chat. So we'll do our best to help you out with all of the news that we can. Let's go on to the next game. Let's talk the Boston Celtics and the Memphis Grizzlies. And I'm torn on this one because I'm surprised the Celtics are dogs, but man, they have been awful this year. So maybe I should not be this surprised. But we got some cheap prices on some of these guys, right? Jaylen Brown still feels a little cheap at 7.9. Jason Tatum at 8.6 feels cheap and in a close competitive game. Hoop, I think these guys are more DK plays than FanDuel. I think maybe Jaylen is interesting on FanDuel at small forward. Curious to get your take on that one because I think some of these Celtics are a little interesting on this slate.
Yeah, I think you hit it spot on. I mean, more DK plays opposed to FanDuel. And we were talking about Gilgeous-Alexander. I said there's a plethora of guys in that mid-8 to mid-7 range that are in play. These are two of them. I mean, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, I think both strong plays tonight. Wouldn't play them both, would play one of them. And they're both just strong options and certainly in play here. And I agree with you. Like, I didn't think the spread seems weird that Memphis is favored by 2, but Boston, they just haven't been good. And that's all there is to it. And now they're without some bodies. So it's Tatum, it's Brown for me. I think they're both strong plays individually. On the Memphis side, don't hate Morant in tournaments. He hasn't really been getting it done all that much lately, but I think he still does have that upside and the price is down. So Morant in tournaments, Jaylen Brown or Tatum in all formats, really strong plays, more so on DK. That pretty much wraps it up for me in this game.
Yeah, and we'll have our plays of the day at the end of the show. Stay tuned. John Moran has been a 4X play of the day. I don't think today will be the day, but you never know. So we'll have to see. Title, I'll head on over to you. How are you handling these Boston Celtics and Memphis Grizzlies on this slate?
Yeah, it's pretty much Jaylen Brown and Tatum, like you were saying. On DraftKings, DraftKings both. FanDuel, not going to Tatum. It would be Jaylen Brown. And that's more so like we talked about. There's just not studs to pay with. You take your raw points and then you move on if you go that route. Marcus Smart as well. He's 5.6 on FanDuel or 5.6 on DK. I like his price on FanDuel more at 5K. He's played over 30 minutes past 2 games. So minutes are trending back up. I like him on FanDuel with the stocks upside as well. Plays good defense. I think he'll be lower owned too as shooting guard. So I'll add him in that mix. As far as Memphis, I don't want to play John Morant or slow-mo on this slate. So they're going to be a fade for me. Just the studs with the raw points with no studs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think I need to go to this game too much, just mainly picking some guys on the Celtics side, and that's it for me. Let's head on over to the last game of the night. Before we do that, guys, please hit the like, hit the subscribe on the video. It helps us out a ton. Again, we got about 700 of you watching. We also have 320 likes. So try to get those up for us. Helps us out. We're going to be giving away a free Run Pure Sports subscription at the end of the show. So put some comments in the chat. We'll be looking for a good comment in there. So feel free to comment and hit the like. Also want to mention JSU and Holden. They'll be up next. They'll be talking about the slate, kind of breaking it all down, giving you their insight on everything going on for tonight's slate, leading you up to lock. That's a premium show. So sign up now using the code HEATER25 to get 25% off and check out that show. It's a must watch when you're handling all the news and trying to figure it all out. And it's good to have someone in your corner. Run Pure Sports, we're here for you. We're in your corner. JSU is Holden, and they will lead you up to lock. Let's head on over to the last game, and let's talk the Atlanta Hawks and the Los Angeles Clippers. 10 o'clock game, and this is a game we got some injury news where DeAndre Hunter is back. So the Hawks are getting a little healthier. Not the greatest matchup. I think the Hawks are pretty much a full fade for me. And then on the Clippers side, I mean, Kawhi, maybe if I need to spend up, right? Because we talked about how there's some struggles with spending up today, but I just think there's better guys to go to. Title, I'll hand it over to you. This is the 10 o'clock slate. How are you handling this one?
Hawks easy fade, like you said. They're healthy, way better spots on this slate, so not going to waste any time there. As far as the Clippers, there are some good options. My favorite, Zubac, 5,100 on DK, 4,500 on FanDuel. The thing is, especially on FanDuel, his ownership isn't going to be very high because Moses Brown is going to be such chalk. So I think that makes someone in chat too is asking for center pivots. Zubac is a very good pivot in tournaments, especially on FanDuel. Will be higher owned on DraftKings because you can play two centers, but he's a good basketball player, has a lot of upside when he gets his minutes, and he's been getting it. So I like him there. Paul George, I like on both sides. Kawhi, I like on DraftKings. FanDuel is too expensive for me at 9,500. I mean, I guess I should take that back because he's too expensive for 9,500, but you might just take the raw points with so much value at small forward, which I wouldn't hate. So if you need it, I don't love it for the price. I like it more on DraftKings at 8-9. We just have no studs to pay for, so I'm fine with him. I like Paul George. Marcus Morris on FanDuel too is only 3.7. I don't know why he's only 3.7. He's 5K on DraftKings. So FanDuel, I like him. He has upside at his price. He's starting, so makes for a good tournament play because I think he'll be lower owned since there's so much value on this slate. People aren't going to go there. So Clippers, good plays. Hawks, easy fade.
All right, Hoop, how about you? I think you're going to tell me basically similar to Title, but let's hear it. Clippers, Hawks, how are you handling that game?
Yeah, it's been the same situation with the Hawks here for a little bit. When they have those injuries, those guys out, we were looking at them. They're kind of back to full strength here. Just a tough team draw. So there's just not enough to go around for DFS purposes. So I'll be out on them for the most part. On the Clippers side, Zubac, I think, is a good play. Marcus Morris on FanDuel, 3.7, silly price tag. I mean, more of the same on FanDuel where they're not really adjusting their prices frequently enough, and 3.7 for Marcus Morris is a silly price tag. Paul George and Kawhi, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you got the money and you land on them, I think they're fine options tonight. Are they must plays by any means? Absolutely not. I would think, if I'm deciding between Kawhi and like Karl Anthony Towns, I'm definitely going to want to be up to Karl Anthony Towns. On DK, it's only $600 difference. I'd find the 600 and make that work. Paul George, he's in that conversation. I talked about it with a bunch of those guys, the Boston guys, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They're in that range. And I think he's fine too. If you land on him, I probably prefer the other people over him. I probably prefer Jaylen Brown. I probably prefer Tatum. Probably prefer Gilgeous-Alexander over Paul George. But he's a fine play. I mean, if he's the one you like, he's totally fine to me. Those guys are all pretty similar. That's about it though for this game.
All right. I don't have too much more to say with this game. Again, it's not one that I'm in love with. I don't think it's the best game to go to. It's just, sure, you can backload for it if you want. But the problem is we know how the Clippers can get, right? You might backload for some stuff and not be able to, be able to get to the guys if they end up rolling one of them out, and it could absolutely screw you. So I am out on this Clippers-Hawks game for the most part. Mainly Kawhi is the one guy I would look at, but I think that's about it for me. Let's go on and talk about the plays of the day, right? Who's gonna be the one to get the winner for the membership? Do you want me to look or Title? What's the plan here before we kind of go into the plays of the day so we can have that set up?
I'll get us the winner for that. Title can go with we can do the SO play of the day first, and I'll get us the winner of the monthly subscription.
All right, cool. You just want to make sure we get that all lined up. So find that winner there. We'll go over to TitleTown first. Give me the SO play of the day.
Yeah, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Hoop, I tried to keep it a little more low key. Hoop talked him up a little more than I wanted, but Dante DiVincenzo is the SO play of the day. With Middleton, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, I expect him to be under-owned, which is great leverage off those guys. And he's been absolutely on fire lately. He's a good basketball player. He gets a bigger boost without Giannis. It's going to take more shots. It's an absolute smash spot for him, I think, at lower ownership. Dante DiVincenzo, SO play of the day.
All right, we got DiVincenzo as the SO play of the day. Hoop, we'll go over to you next. Hit me with the 4X play of the day.
I got the 4X play of the day, and I got the subscription winner as well. So first, the subscription winner, it's going to be Costa 26. And it wasn't that hard for him to win. He said, look, I just changed my profile pic. I win. So he put the Run Pure Sports logo in as his YouTube avatar. So that's going to be the winner. So you reach out to info@runpuresports.com. Give us your information. We'll get you set up with your subscription. However, if I see you in this chat and that Run Pure Sports logo has ever changed, we're immediately canceling that subscription. So you have to keep the RPS logo up on YouTube as well. So now there's a little stipulation behind it. So if Costa 26 pops up here and has a different logo, there's going to be a problem. So you got to keep that logo. That's the only stipulation. So congrats. Reach out to info@runpuresports. Now the SO play of the day, or SO.
Hey, whoa.
Man.
I'm used to hosting, so I go here. Now Mangone's hosting. I'm getting confused over here. Not the SO. It's the 4X play of the day. The 4X play of the day. It's going to be our boy Terry Rozier. Like I said, I know Devontae Graham gets high ownership here. He's the one that everyone's going to be on. But I like these secondary Hornets guys a little bit. I think Rozier can have a big game. We've seen massive games from him in the past. So going with Terry Rozier.
All right, well, Terry Rozier it is. I do want to mention Costa 26. Once you get that free subscription, jump in the Discord chat, and then you know what you do? You head on over in the Discord, and we have our own section where you can get the RPS logo, right? And what you do is you take that logo, and what do? You put it on your DK and FanDuel name, so that way you can show the people, RPS runs this thing, right? So be sure to head on over to the Discord chat and put the RPS logo on there. Now, Hoop, I know you were very disappointed in Title for changing to the SO play and not stick with the dry hump, but I will dry hump my way to victory for you.
Hold on. Maybe Title gets the workbench play of the day from here on out after that one, and you can maybe move up to the SO. I don't know.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if you can see that. Big T has been too on fire, but maybe you've taken.
Do we get a Big T workbench play? I mean, come on, Title.
Hey, all right, yeah. Let me here while you're talking. I'll go ask him.
Drag him out of the sheets. I know he's napping. Get him out of the bed.
I'll be right back and see if we get one.
All right, you go find him. I will stall as much as possible for my play of the day. And Hoop, I want to make sure let me know if this plays allowed. I think it should be. Ownership seems higher than I want it to be, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been traveling all day. I think Anthony Edwards is my play of the day, my dry hump play of the day. Listen, I get it. It seems like he's getting some ownership, but I don't think he has all the ownership in the world. There are other guys that people are going to play. They're going to load up on Chris Middleton at the shooting guard position. They're going to load up on Devontae Graham. They'll load up on Drew Holiday. So I think Edwards still goes under own. Hoop kind of talked about it earlier in the day. Basically what I was thinking, the guy's floor is just so safe and he has a massive ceiling. And now he hits the Thunder. They have 118 total. Anthony Edwards is my dry hump play of the day. Title, what's going on over there?
We can accept that.
Perfect.
Yeah, man. He said you rushed him. You didn't give him enough time. You caught him off guard. So maybe you'll get one later in Discord. Be on the lookout for that, but nothing on the spot. You got to think of that. It has to be. I mean, he's too hot to just give out a random one. Has to be thought out. So fortunately, no workbench yet. Be checking in Discord. You might get one.
Yep, and David Graves asking if Title has moved in to be continued. We'll see if he's here, for future shows. And
I will not be.
But yeah, he might have like the next bedroom. Maybe he'll start babysitting throughout the day for the kids.
They're gonna hire Title full time as the nanny over there.
The kids are very, very fun. I will say that, but Title's got to go back to his own house tomorrow.
All right. Well, that should wrap it up for us, guys. If you want to. All you got to do is head on over to Run Pure Sports, sign up, use the code HEATER25, get in that Discord chat, and maybe you'll get that Big T workbench play of the day if you are looking for that. But we gave you a couple plays of the day. That should be enough to get you home. Nice, easy slate. This is like such a cash games type slate. So fitting to have all of us here on this show helping you guys out. But that'll wrap it up for us, guys. JSU and Holden will lead you up to lock. But that's it for us. For me, Mangone, I was going to say Big T, but that's TitleTown, even though it says Tony Niehaus. And Hoop, see you guys later.
Good luck, everybody.